From the University of North Dakota in Grand Forks, this is Studio One.
Hi everyone and welcome to Studio One. I'm Averi Haugesag.
And I'm Katy Wilson.
Today on the show, smoke has a strong smell, but sometimes that warning sign can go unnoticed in a home. We'll talk to an expert who will give us tips to prevent this from happening.
Also, safe flights are expected of pilots. We'll tell you how one aviation school is raising the bar for safety training. But first, a new report by the World Health Organization says air pollution is now the single largest environmental health risk. More than 7 million people died from air pollution in 2012. Half of those deaths were linked to smoke from indoor stoves. Women and children in third world countries were affected the most. Experts are starting to research ways to lower the risk of exposure for the future. Astronomers recently discovered an asteroid with rings in our solar system. Experts say this asteroid is the only known non-planet to have rings in the Milky Way. Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune have rings also. The asteroid was discovered in early 2013 when a rock passed in front of a star. The new discovery was published in the latest edition of the journal Nature. The current generation of college students have lived their whole lives with computers. A recent health initiative from universities is using this to their advantage. Schools across the nation are taking steps to move their health services online. Universities are setting up online health portals that make visiting the doctor easier for students. This service securely stores their medical history online. It makes it available to doctors before a visit. The portal also makes updating medical history easier.
We hope to have immunizations accessible so you can see what immunizations you've had, print out your immunizations records, or even add in your own immunization records if you've gotten shots updated.
Insurance providers are also joining in on the technology push. Users can communicate with the provider via secure email with the online portal. The aim is getting the patient their information faster.
A new study says children are the driving force behind U.S. spending patterns. Gallup Daily Tracking says families that have children under the age of 18 spend on average $108 per day. That's about $30 more than families with no children. Researchers say this could be a result of having more people in the house. More people means more basic necessities like food and clothing. Over 172,000 people aged 18 and older were randomly selected and interviewed.
A passenger on a plane puts their lives in the hands of the pilot, the crew, and the integrity of the plane itself. One school in North Dakota is pushing safety instruction to stay ahead of potential problems.
With aviation students doing what they can to take flight into a competitive job world, every advantage helps.
It's getting me ready for a better transition for the real world.
Since June of 2013, UND and the Federal Aviation Administration have been collaborating on a safety management system, or SMS. The SMS is designed to identify risks and problems in flying before they come up.
But at this point, I think there is only one other aviation school that I know of that is actively taking part in the SMS, the FAA's pilot program for SMS.
While most schools haven't even got off the ground with SMS, UND is soaring to new heights. As of January 2014, the program has reached Level 3, which no other school in the country has matched. While Levels 1 and 2 are about planning and prep work, 3 is about actively taking out the problems.
And Level 3, basically what we're doing is being proactive and looking ahead, identifying problem areas, things that could possibly cause an accident, incident, or occurrence, and coming up with ways to mitigate that before it happens.
Through this new program, students are taught to look closer at the details.
It's really helping you become more aware of your surroundings and just listening better, observing better, and taking in everything.
UND's aviation program is working with the FAA to create safer pilots. Their attention to little things in terms of safety can make a huge difference. With photographer Zach Worthy, I'm Alex Stadnick, reporting for Studio One.
Frank and the other staff members hope to reach Level 4 of SMS, which is the highest level, by the end of this year. And that's the news for now.
All right, thanks, Katy. Let's go now to Timm Uhlmann for the weather news. Tim, how's it looking?
Well, Avery and Katy, this past Saturday, a large mudslide covered 1 square mile in Snohomish County in Washington. The nearby towns of Oso, Washington and Darrington, Washington were both affected. Rescue crews used sonar equipment, dogs, and aircraft to help finding missing people. As of the 6th day of search on Thursday, 176 people were still missing, although some of them probably just haven't contacted the authorities after they've been found. One family did find some joy when they managed to return back to their house as their chocolate lab was rescued from the rubble and was found unharmed. Now that's what's happening on the west coast. On the east coast on March 26th, a large storm developed in the Atlantic Ocean, and what was remarkable about this storm was that it underwent something called bombogenesis. And what that is when a lot of cool air comes from Canada and meets these warmer waters, a storm can intensify very quickly. Now storms and their intensity is measured by their central pressure, and bombogenesis is when that pressure drops 24 millibars in 24 hours. And with that, the storm intensifies very rapidly and forms very strong winds as well. Now, that's the east and the west coast. In the Midwest, unlike most of the nation, the sales have actually been booming with the colder weather.
Record cold and snowy weather continues to grip most of the nation. National retail sales fell for 3 straight months during the bitter winter. Up north in Grand Forks, North Dakota, shoppers are ready for the cold and snow.
We compromise with the cold weather. We bring in a lot of cold weather items like sweaters and boots, that type of stuff, so we try to keep stuff trending.
Madison says that clothing sales have actually increased this winter. She says part of the reason is cold weather accessories, the other is people wanting to escape to warmer weather.
We have a lot of people going on spring break, their vacation, so we've had a lot of people still coming in shopping for their spring stuff. We have a big winter sale right now.
Colder temperatures keep shoppers at home. Higher heating bills keep their wallets closed. However, this clothing store's shoppers defy the national economic trends.
I say the small community has been amazing to us. They're religious when they come here. We have our current customers, and again, we have our new ones.
Despite the delayed spring, the loyal customers at Madison's store have kept sales blooming. With photographer Eric Nelson Brotley, I'm Joe Hayden reporting for Studio One.
After the past 3 months of some lower sales due to winter, experts agree that in March, those sales will once again be on the rise. That brings us to our weather question of the week. What is the lowest pressure recorded in North America, excluding hurricanes? And Avery, remember, the lower that pressure, the more intense the storm will be.
All right, thanks, Tim. Now we're going to go over to Katy for a sports story. Katy?
Thanks, Avery. Hockey, basketball, and wrestling are popular winter sports. In between the action, crowds sometimes get the opportunity to watch an athlete who twirls to a different tune.
The sound of squeaky shoes and a bouncing ball fill the gymnasium. While the game is underway, Nicole Thies and her team start to warm up. Nicole is used to twirling in front of an audience.
My dad won me a plastic baton at a carnival, and so I begged my mom forever to get me started in lessons.
Nicole, with baton in hand, has twirled just about everywhere.
I used to take her to some events, like she'd do grade school, or she'd do nursing homes and stuff when she was littler.
And she's good at it. Nicole won Best in Minnesota in 4 different events. No matter how many medals she has on her wall, she still gets nervous.
2 seconds before the music starts, my hands get so sweaty that I don't even know if I'll be able to hold on to my baton because I feel like it's going to fly out.
Even the best twirlers drop batons.
Dropping the baton I compare to missing a basket or shooting the puck and the goalie blocking it because it happens. Gravity obviously is bringing it down.
Similar to dance, twirling is a sport that requires flexibility.
I think I got my dancing skills from my dad. He's a little goofy on the floor.
So I was at the Rolling Stones concert at the Metrodome, and I was on the main floor and with a bunch of people, and I was dancing, and they actually wanted to throw me out because I was moving too much, and I danced my way out of that one.
For some people, the main event doesn't happen during the game. For people like Nicole, her time to shine happens when the game clock stops. With photographer Eric Nielsen Brotley, I'm Jen Allison, reporting for Studio One.
Nicole is the reigning Miss Majorette Minnesota. She will be competing in April to defend her title. And that's our sports story for today's show.
All right, thanks, Katy. From a young age, we are taught about fire safety. As adults, many assume that a house fire will only happen to someone else. We'll talk to a fire marshal about the things you may have forgotten.
Closed captioning for Studio One is underwritten in part by NDAD, helping others to help themselves.
North Dakota is facing challenges in healthcare delivery. The University of North Dakota School of Medicine and Health Sciences is building a place to help meet the state's healthcare needs. In addition to a new structure, we're also building interaction between healthcare professionals while building a workforce through expanding class sizes. We're inspiring our youth to engage in healthcare careers and exploring ways to reduce disease. It starts here and ends here, building a better future for North Dakota.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
The University of North Dakota College of Business and Public Administration, connecting vision to innovation.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
Kids learn about Sparky the dog and Smokey the bear. As we get older, many of these messages these characters told us begin to fade. Fire Marshal Brandon Baseflug is here to tell us how fires have evolved and how fires surprise people at home and at work. Thanks for being on the show with us.
Well, thanks for having me.
So what made you interested in becoming a firefighter? Was it a thing that started as a kid, or is it something you realized when you were older?
I actually grew up in the fire service. I got a grandfather that is a retired fire chief. A couple of his sons were firefighters, and I grew up in going to work with him, going to the fire station. So I guess in a sense it's in my blood.
He wasn't in the same department as you.
Nope, nope. It's not from around here. Still in the state of North Dakota, but I guess it just over time I figured out that that's what I wanted to do.
Getting to see this with your grandfather and everything, how have things kind of changed within the fire departments?
Well, as things have changed, really, the fire service has changed just as technology has changed. Computers get bigger and better. So do things in the fire service. And with that, as fires intensify. Back in the early 70s, there was fires. There were very bad fires. They would have fires daily, whether it was in the city of Grand Forks, Bismarck, New York City. They actually came out with a publication called America Burning. They knew that there was a large fire problem throughout the nation that needed to be addressed. Buildings were built very strong, very sturdy, so you'd have a bad fire, but you weren't having building collapses and things of that nature. Yeah. Now today, as it's evolved 30-some years later, buildings are built cheaper, if you will, lightweight building construction, and it's much more dangerous for the firefighters.
Yeah, so is your only job to fight fires then, or what else do the firefighters do?
Well, firefighters, the ones that we call them line firefighters, they work 24 hours a day. They respond to medical emergencies, they respond to citizens assist, end fires. My job as a fire marshal is a little bit different than that. I spent time riding the fire trucks. I did all that. And now my job is to work 8 to 5, and I prevent the fires from happening. My job basically is to put them out of a job, you know, if you think about it that way.
So what are some common scenarios that can cause fires? I mean, are cigarettes, cooking, that sort of thing?
Cooking's the number one cause of fire deaths or fire injuries. Cigarettes certainly are a cause of fires. And then also just complacency, the way people treat their electronics, things of that nature, or even a space heater. They plug in a space heater because they're cold or they're trying to supplement heat. In North Dakota, we get pretty cold winters. They plug in a space heater to get a little bit extra heat. They put a blanket next to it. All of a sudden, that blanket's on fire.
Yeah, I suppose it's pretty easy when that kind of thing. So what are some things that people can do individually at their homes? You know, you said cooking was definitely one of the number one causes. What are some of those things?
I guess one of the things with cooking is you never want to leave, you never want to cook unattended. And what we mean by that is, yes, boiling water, you don't have to sit and watch the water boil. But if you're deep frying, you're making bacon, something like that, even making a pizza, don't put it in and go take a shower or go to bed or do something that's going to make you forget that something was in the oven.
So be alert.
Yep,
sort of.
yep, be alert.
Yep. And you have to stay in the kitchen as well too? You think that's a better idea than walking in the other room?
It really depends, I guess, on the scenario. If you're making a turkey and it's going to take you 6 hours to cook your turkey in your oven, I wouldn't advise turning the oven on and sitting in front of it and watching your turkey cook.
Yeah.
Something like that is okay. But if you're deep frying or
Stick around.
Stick around.
Yeah, we have we had a picture up there that said another one that was to check it regularly too. I mean, if you're doing, like you said, a turkey or something like that, just check on it every once in a while.
Absolutely.
Okay, so kids are educated regularly on fire safety, but what are some things that adults might forget about?
Well, the big problem is we educate kids at an early age. We start when they're in preschool. We go until they're in about 3rd grade. After that, their lives become so busy, they become complacent. And older adults become complacent. College students become complacent, and even into the adult years and the senior citizens, everybody becomes complacent. They forget about what they learned at an early age about fire safety.
Yeah.
And they, you know, it does. If we got some smoke from a burnt toast, they take a battery out of a smoke detector and they forget to put it back in. Next thing they know, they have a fire caused by something else. They don't have a working smoke detector. They either are injured badly or they succumb to the fire.
Yeah. So what is one piece of advice if you could give people on how to prevent fires from their homes or workplace or wherever they're at?
The one piece of advice, if I can give any advice, is for people to have a working smoke detector. And I never give one piece of advice. I always give 2. So you have to have a working smoke detector, and you have to practice a home escape plan. What that means, when that smoke detector goes off, you need to know how to get out of your house. You know, 2 ways out. You need to know if you got a window, how to get out of that window, and your family needs to know that too. So for the adults, the kids need to know what sound that smoke detector makes and what it means when it goes off. So you get out of the house and stay out of the house.
Do your senses really work when you're sleeping? And that kind of thing?
Well, what happens when you fall asleep? Your eyes close. You lose your sense of smell, or excuse me, your sense of sight. The next thing you lose is you actually sense of smell. Yeah. Everybody thinks that a campfire, I'm going to smell if there's a fire burning in my house. Yes, you may, but more than likely, you're not going to. Your sense of smell is shut down, and then plus on top of that, during a fire, the smoke creates noxious gases. It overcomes you quickly. So, but what you still have is your sense of hearing. And that's why it's so important to have a smoke detector that's working. Once that thing beeps in the middle of the night, you react to it.
So how can you kind of educate adults? You know, you go into the schools and do that kind of thing with kids when they're younger, but how do you educate adults?
Just what we're doing right now. I think that's, you know, that's really one of the things is reaching out to the community. We're working through the media sources, whether it's on TV, newspapers, or what have you, or even sometimes we go door to door and do some different campaigns. But the important thing is to educate those adults, is teach them that don't become complacent.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming on the show
with us
today. Coming up, some families that eat together stay together. One class might like to change that families cook together, stay together. We'll sit in a class that caters to kids who cook.
Studio One closed captioning is underwritten in part by Options, your disability information source.
It's not the size of the woman in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the woman.
Some consider graduation the end of the college experience. For others, it's just the beginning.
And the university provided an environment where I could grow.
Many years after I graduated, I'm still receiving dividends from my experience as a student at UND.
The University of North Dakota Alumni Association is committed to growing the university by growing the alumni family.
At the University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, classes have real-life application. Mentors guide students. Our work improves quality of life by answering tough questions with creativity and innovation. The University of North Dakota College of Engineering and Mines, training tomorrow's engineering and geology experts today.
Really admire the faculty. They're the ones that kind of helped push me through this.
Courses are hands-on and interactive. The communication program has so many different facets to it. One of the great things about the staff in the communication department is that they love what they do. They encourage you to really critically think and analyze everything you're learning. They're so into it, and it makes you want to be into it.
If you would like to attend a live show, go to our website at studio1.und.edu.
Arnold Schwarzenegger is back in action. His newest film, Sabotage, attempts to challenge moviegoers to figure out who the good guys and who the bad guys really are. Schwarzenegger's character leads an elite DEA drug task force. They are hunted down one by one after robbing a drug cartel safe house. The drug cartel is not the only ones hot on the task force's trail. Homicide investigators question the task force's use of the retrieved money. The director wanted Schwarzenegger's character to be multidimensional.
Play a character that is the SWAT leader, play a character that is a teammate, and that is the buddy of all of those guys, that is a father figure for all of those guys. But at the same time, there is tremendous betrayals in the story.
The director says he compares his cast to a basketball team. He says the team is only as good as the individuals acting, and he has the dream team. Sabotage opens in theaters March 28th with an R rating. In the past, Google encouraged its employees to dedicate 20% of their time to personal projects. The idea was to promote creativity. Schools are catching on to the idea and calling it Genius Hour. It was introduced to allow students to learn from themselves. Failure is actually an acceptable result because of the lessons that are learned. But some parents are rejecting the idea. We wanted your thoughts on whether you would like to see Genius Hour become more common in classrooms.
They own it. And if you own it, you oftentimes will work harder to make it go.
As long as they can provide the right equipment to make sure that they're actually learning and getting all the information that they actually need from it.
It's better for kids so that they can learn how to cope with failure.
If it's just art or something, then I would say no, but if it's something with technology, then that would be a good idea.
I don't know how well an elementary kid can direct constructive focus for an hour on their own.
I'm all for creativity, and I'm sad when they take away music programs and things like that. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, to a certain extent, a certain age.
A comment from our Facebook page from Lisa in Grand Forks, North Dakota says, "The most powerful moments of learning in my classroom are the moments in which students can take ownership for their learning. There will be a few groups that may need a little bit more guidance than others, but I love this idea." Kellen from Woodbury, Minnesota says, "No, you can do projects outside of school. It's called a hobby."
Everybody learns to cook from someone else, but in this class, they're learning about a lot more than just blending and baking.
Measuring, mixing, and eating all lead to learning.
And when he was done cooking, I saw a big bubble.
What's a kitchen without a little mess?
Stephen Ralph enrolled his 2 sons in the Culinary Corners Cooking with Kiddos class 2 years in a row. He says it teaches them life lessons.
Learning about responsibility and how to follow directions and things like this. So, I think it's good. I think it helps them too in school.
But they're learning about more than just good character.
Well, the kids class is really to teach nutritional value to kids and show that cooking can be fun and not everything has to be, crackers and cheese.
These little chefs also learn about kitchen safety.
Now remember, the pan is very hot.
How not to spread germs, and how to work together. And this class is for more than just kids.
The kids will open up more too once you get the parents involved. So I think it's really instrumental to get everyone in the room involved.
Stephen says it also brings the family closer together.
I would say since the oldest started doing it, he wants to help more at home in the kitchen. So he sees it's not just for mom and dad, but the kids can help.
This class may give some the recipe for something good, whether it's on a plate or something much more valuable. With photographer Katy Fletcher, I'm Marissa Sorensen reporting for Studio One.
The parents are given a copy of the recipes at the end of the class, and the kids are able to take home their creations.
All right, thanks, Katie. Now we're going to head over to Tim, who is in our studio with a final look at the weather. Tim?
Well, Avery and Katie, for the next coming week, looking at colder and warmer temperatures, we're looking at warmer in the southwest and cooler along the east coast up towards the Great Lakes region. Wetter than average for the northern half of the United States, and where it was warm, it'll also be dry near Arizona and New Mexico. Brings us back to our weather question. What is the lowest pressure recorded in North America, excluding hurricanes? And the answer is A, 927 millibars. Now, Katie and Avery, 1,013 is sea level pressure. This was quite an intense storm because it's quite a bit lower.
It definitely is. All right, thanks, Tim. And that's our show for today. As always, you can follow us through social media or get more information on our website. From all of us at Studio One, have a great week.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you.